Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Natural Beer, and welcome back to another PS2 collection update. This one's got some doozies in it. We'll start with this bundle first. This was 3 games. It cost about £6 altogether, including delivery. So I did quite well, given what's here. Because, I mean, this game alone on the top is about £2.50-ish, and then, that's what it's worth anyway. And then the other two, a little bit more than that. So I think I did really well here overall. So we'll get straight into it. So we've got SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, and it's all complete and everything, as you can see. It's in good condition as well. I don't think I had this one. I've got 2009, but not this one. So it's another one ticked off. This one, I've never actually played the PS2 version of this one. By this point, I'd already moved over to the PS3, so... and this one, actually, it's not a very good game on PS3, to tell you the truth. So I can't imagine the PS2 version is much better. They did a weird thing where every wrestler's got its own fighting style, and there's 8 different types, as you can see there. But the problem is, it means that some of the things that you could just do in the previous game, you can only do in this one if you have the right fighting style. So it basically just meant that the wrestlers were more limited in what they could actually do, for no reason, really. So I don't know what that was about, really. Very strange. Although, actually, coming back to this quickly, I believe, did this have... Okay, I was going to say, I don't believe this had the GM mode in it. If you don't know what GM mode is, essentially you were the general manager of one of the brands, and you could sign new wrestlers, and you could make your own matches and that kind of thing. Essentially, you could be a booker almost. I think 2007 was the last game that had that mode, I think, but I could be wrong. It might be this one, but either way, whichever one is the last one to have the GM mode is actually more widely regarded by fans purely for that reason, because the GM mode was so cool and they only did it for a few years. It's quite a shame, really. Thunderbirds. Okay, Americans are going to be very confused by this. This was what decade was this from? 60s, 70s? I can't remember. I wasn't alive at the time, clearly. But it was an old British TV series. They rebooted this a few times, I think. There was a movie about 20 years ago. I think the movie was a bit shit, if I remember rightly, and it didn't have puppets in it. It was just a live action thing. And they tried to reboot this a few times. So to get a game for this is a bit odd, I must say. And it's just strange. Until, of course, you see who was responsible for this. Blast. Let's talk about Blast. So Blast are in the same category as Phoenix Games, as Play It to a degree, and as Midas, I never know how to pronounce that. We'll say Midas Interactive, who basically published kind of shovelware. But the difference with Blast is they actually made licensed shovelware. What they would often do is they would get licenses like this that had a name in the UK because they were cheaper than licenses that were known more worldwide. And they would make games based on them. So in this case, Thunderbirds. The idea with this, I suppose, was that your gran would see this and think, oh, Thunderbirds, that's a new show for the kids, even though it's not been on for 50 years because, they're old, haha. And so she would buy that for young Timmy, thinking that, Thunderbirds is the new hip thing. And in fact, when did this come out? Because I have a theory. Okay, it's 2007. That's my theory, shot to shit. I was thinking maybe that they did this because the movie came out around that time, but I think the movie came out in 2003 or something. I don't know, so not quite the same thing. But I think that was the idea, is get these cheap licenses that Granny will remember and she'll buy it for the grandkids, But they also did some weird ones. Like, for example, there's a Beverly Hills Cop game based on, of course, the Eddie Murphy franchise. But you don't play as Eddie Murphy. You play as a white, bold fella. I'm not joking. It's bizarre. I think what happened is they got the rights to Beverly Hills Cop, but not to use Eddie Murphy, which I think is a separate thing. So I don't know what happened there. But yeah, there's a few games like this. There's a Mr. Bean game and all sorts. And of course, there's a Wacky Racers game, as you can see. Wacky Racers, Mad Motors. There's actually 2 Wacky Racers games on PS2, and I don't know what the deal is with the other one, but this is this one. You'll also notice that it has basically the same cover design on the back. It's stacked like horizontally rather than more vertical like Thunderbirds was, as you can see. But same font, same kind of scheme of like just a normal colour in the background with the red boxes and the white text. They did that too. They had the, you know, a style, let's just say. But yeah, this is all, it's all complete and everything. So yeah, these games, they're not like valuable, but they're relatively uncommon just because, you know, Blast didn't really release things in great quantities, a bit like Phoenix games. This is all complete as well, by the way. Also, this is one of the shitty cases. I don't know if anyone knows this, but later PS2 games use this case quite a lot with the thing in the middle. They're just a lot cheaper. I don't know why they changed the design, but they feel cheap, and I don't like them. They're nasty, but, you know, what can you do? But yeah, I got those 3 games for about £6, including delivery, so I did alright, considering they're relatively uncommon. Right, the next thing... This is the worst thing I've ever spent money on, but it's the perils of being a collector, I'm afraid. I'm not joking. This game exists. Everything I'm about to tell you is true, and it's based purely on facts. Germany's next top model. I've got so many... I don't know where to begin. First off, the N isn't capitalised on the side. Like, I haven't just made this box. This is not my fault, okay? This is how the game arrived. This is how it actually is. Also, why is it in English? I don't know if the show was originally like the title of the show was actually that, in which case that makes no sense, because shouldn't it be Deutschland's and then whatever next top model is in German? I don't really, my German is not very good. But I don't understand it. Also, you're not misreading that. 2009 this game came out. Why? Who asked for this? Anyway, yes, this was a regional release, as you can imagine. Released in Germany, possibly. Well, I don't even think Austria got this, because why would they? Because if Austria would have their own version, wouldn't they? But yeah, I think this was only released in Germany. Probably not in that great numbers, to be honest. Despite the possible rarity, this did only cost me £4, so that's good. We've got Janina here on the cover. I have no idea who Janina is. Yeah. This is a real thing. This cost me £4. I feel sick for having spent £4 on this. But it does have 5 mini spielers, so that's good. Yeah, it's all in German, as you can imagine. I don't even think the game is in English, because why would it be? It was only ever meant to be sold in Germany. But my favourite part of this, well, there's 2 things, both found in the copyright information at the bottom here. First off, when it focuses, thank you. Right at the bottom, it says, made in Austria, which I found hilarious. Finally, after all the years of bullshit of Austria having to get the blame for the existence of Adolf Hitler, finally Austria have their revenge. But the even funnier part is they actually fucked up the copyright information, because it just says 1997 to year. So they didn't even fill in the correct year on that. That is brilliant. As you can see, yeah, 2009. So yeah, amazing, just amazing. Suffice to say, I haven't played this yet. I'm probably going to put it in for 5 minutes just to confirm that A, it exists and it's not like a practical joke, and B, that it is in fact only in German. Yeah. That exists. Anyway, and I've spent money on that, by the way. Like, actual money. I mean, holy shit. Right, final bundle here. This one, I did really well on this, I think. This was 25 quid, this bundle, and there's only 7 things in it, but most of the 7 things are quite relatively uncommon, I would say, and also quite valuable just in general. One of these games, just to give you an idea, is worth £15 by itself on CEX. So yeah, I'll bring the stuff in. I'll bring in the 2 more common ones first. So we have Avatar: The Legend of Aang and Avatar: The Legend of Aang: The Burning Earth. These are both not that valuable, really, worth a couple of quid each, but they're both in really good condition as well. That was another thing about this bundle. Most of these games are in really good condition. This one doesn't have a manual, unfortunately, but the disc itself is almost spotless. The case is good, so I'm mostly happy about that. But yeah, those games aren't massively valuable. The 3rd Avatar game, the one that came out after these 2, that is more valuable, but these 2 really aren't. So, but you know, it's ticking off 2 I don't have, so I don't really mind at this point. Yeah, I've never watched Avatar ever, and almost certainly never will, because I don't watch cartoons particularly, and I don't watch anime, so I'm the wrong audience for this bundle. Let's just say that. And we'll bring the rest in here. So firstly, we have Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. Don't think this one has a manual. It does not. Yeah, not too bad to get this. I'm quite happy with it. I've heard these games are quite good. So, and to be honest, Dragon Ball is one of those things where I would never watch the series, because I watched it a tiny bit as a kid, and it was mostly just people screaming at each other in a field for 20 minutes. I didn't really understand the appeal, but I would probably play the games, because throwing fireballs at each other while a green man screams in horror, that's funny, right? I would do that. So, yeah, I know nothing about this series. I could maybe tell you a few of these characters' names, possibly. I'm guessing Goku is one of these characters. That looks like Blanca from Street Fighter. Brilliant. That's that green fella. Is it Piccolo, or is that another guy? I have no idea. Is that Vegeta in the corner with his eye patch there? It's over 9,000, etc. That appears to be a man with serious burns all over his body. Yeah, first degree burns is what's happening there. But yeah, as I say, I could not tell you anything about this franchise really. As I say, it's just people screaming in a field really. But you know, what can you do? And then all the rest of these, you probably guessed, they're all Naruto. So we have Uzumaki Chronicles. Okay, don't know what that means. Again, no manual, unfortunately. But is this no? Okay, one of these games is in Italian. I think it might be this one. I can't remember. But yeah, this is Naruto, whatever it's called. Uzumaki Chronicles. That's the one. Again, I know nothing about this series. Is that Naruto? Is that his name, or is that the name of a thing that they're after? I have no idea. Also, are these games any good? Absolutely no idea. I can't tell you anything about these. We have Uzumaki Chronicles 2. That does have the manual, so that's good. I think this is the one that's in Italian. No, it's not this one. One of these is in Italian, I promise. Yeah. Oh, okay, it says explore the world of Naruto. So does that mean that's what the world is called in this franchise? Or is it still the name of the main character, but they're saying explore the world of the series? I don't know. I have no idea. We have Naruto Ultimate Ninja 3. This is the one that's worth about £15. Unfortunately, as you can tell up here, Manuale di Istruzioni, it's in Italian. So, not fantastic. I do speak a very small amount of Italian, but not enough to be able to read all of this, unfortunately. I can figure out what certain words mean. For example, Del Ninja. I think I figured that one out. Yeah, I mean, obviously it'll play fine, and it'll have an English option, because they always do. Even through an Italian, they have an English option, so that's good. And also the copyright information, always in English. I don't know if that's a legal thing or what happened there, but whatever. And then we finally have Naruto Ultimate Ninja 2. Probably should do that in the other order, but never mind. No manual with this. Also, this one, if you can see that, the case is kind of like pushed in. Maybe, can you see that? Can you see how it dips in very slightly in the middle? I don't know why that is. This did arrive very slightly damaged. There was a rip in the side of the box, so I don't know if it was maybe dropped. I'm not sure. Or if it was just like this, I don't know. It's not a big deal, honestly. So, you know, and the case, it's not like the case is broken or anything. As you can see, it's, you know, it's all fine. It's just slightly dented, but, you know, what can you do? Nothing like a slightly dented Naruto. But yeah, no, I was happy to get all of these. Not because I've no knowledge of this franchise whatsoever, and will never have any knowledge of it particularly. But, you know, I mean, this worth 15 quid. I mean, granted, it is the Italian version, which probably knocks the value down slightly in this country, but still, it was, you know, it's hard to get hold of. So, and I was happy with this. I think for 25 quid, all of these games have some sort of value. Even, you know, like this first Avatar game hit, the Legend of Aang, this one, I think it's only like £1.50 on CEX. But I've never seen this before in any bundle, so that's usually a sign that even if something's not valuable, it might still be relatively uncommon, you know. So, yeah, I was happy with this. I think for £25, I've done pretty well. And I'm actually curious to try this out at some point. Sometime in the next 15 years when I find room in my backlog. Jesus. yeah, I did pretty well, so happy with that. So that's what I've got for now. Oh, finger in front of the camera. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, so I think the plan is... By the way, it's so hot in the UK. I'm going to moan about this because I've got no one else to moan to about it, so I may as well moan to you lot. It's so hot. I can't with this weather. I was going to go out this weekend and you know, I've got some stuff to take into CEX. I was going to take some PS3 games in that I don't play anymore and trade them in and see what they had. And I thought, oh, this would be a cool little thing. I can be like, hey, I just got back from the shop. Here's what I bought. But no, that didn't happen. Would have also gone into the charity shops just to see if there was anything in there, because the ones in town are clearly better than the ones in my local area, because, you know, I live in a small town that's a bit of a shithole. But that didn't get to happen because one specific reason: fuck going on public transport in this weather, because I would probably die. I don't drive, so fuck me, right? Anyway, I don't really know where that rant came from. We've got a few more bundles in the pipeline. What I'm going to do is the next one that comes in, we'll do that one and then we'll call it a video. And then the ones after that, we'll make a separate video, because the one after that is a big one. We've got like a 55 game bundle. No, how many games are in it? I can't remember, like 45 games or something coming in. Also, just a few hours ago, not even that, like an hour ago, I made quite a big purchase of one specific game. So that will also be in the next video. So we'll keep an eye out for that one. But yeah, we'll be back in a second with the final lot of games. And we are back. It has been, I want to say, 2 days since I recorded the first bit. The other bundle has now arrived. So actually, it can't have been 2 days because that was a Sunday. Whatever. Point is, we are back and we have the final bundle for this video. I got a really good deal on this. It was basically, how many games are in this? Let me just look off to the side here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 8 boxed games and then there's 1 disc only. So 9 games of... Some of these are actually relatively valuable. There's a couple that aren't, but for the most part, pretty good value as well. £7, that's including delivery. £7. Basically, this auction had almost no bids on it. I don't know why. It's just one of them weird ones that kind of slips under the radar. So I kind of was like, well, I'll put a cheeky bid in, because if I can get it for that price, it's ridiculously worth it. And it just won. You know, no one else had made a higher bid, so don't know what happened there. So yeah, we'll go through the games. Also, it came in that box. Yeah, it's not got beer in it. Also, I don't drink beer, so there you go. And even if I did, I wouldn't drink it on YouTube because, you know, it's against the rules and all that shite. Anyway, don't know where that segue went, but there you go. I don't know, I've talked some bollocks sometimes. Right, I'll show you the disc-only game first. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Of course we do have this, but the disc isn't in too bad condition. There is there's a hair on the back, brilliant. But more importantly, there's a next to the hair. It's actually a good little pointer, isn't it? But yeah, if you can just see, I'll try and zoom in on it a little bit if I can. It's gone out of focus, brilliant. There you go. There's a bit of a scratch, but I think it should still work. And basically, this is just going to be a backup, really. It was essentially a bonus, so I'm not too worried about it either way, really. Incidentally, if you can hear background noise, I do have a fan on because it is ridiculously hot today in the UK. Even hotter than it was when I recorded the first part. It is unbearable today, so I do apologise if you can hear any noise or whatever, but it's kind of a necessity. iToy Play. This isn't really worth any money. You can get it for 50p, and also it doesn't close properly. Like the cases, it doesn't click, and then it just kind of opens really easily. But you know, not really fussed. As I say, I'll definitely find this game several times in the future because it's quite common. The iToy. I looked up the iToy the other day because I was curious about how it did. I was always under the assumption it was kind of a niche thing that sort of did all right, but was just a weird novelty. If I remember rightly, they sold 11 million units of the iToy. I'm not kidding. So, incredibly successful. And I suppose the proof of that is the fact that for the PlayStation 3, they had the PlayStation I believe it was called. And then, which I don't think was anywhere near as successful. And then the PS4 also had the PlayStation camera. So, clearly, they figured, you know, they wouldn't have done it again twice after that if it wasn't a success. In terms of iToy games, there are quite a few, many of which I didn't know existed. and I think pretty much all of them are going to be fairly common. I think there's also a few games that have iToy features but aren't necessarily iToy games. But yeah, games like this, for example, you require the camera. Every single piece of content in this game requires the camera. I think this was actually the first ever iToy game, and I think it was bundled with the console. Also, apparently, the band Gorillaz were apparently sponsors. So that's interesting. Seriously, that guy in the middle, it looks exactly like one of the Gorillaz. Anyway, if you're not British, you might not even know who the Gorillaz are, but never mind. I don't know how popular they are in the US. But yeah, iToy was a cool novelty anyway, wasn't it? It was kind of an early version of like Kinect and things like that, really. It was just essentially a webcam with a PlayStation logo on the top, but you know, it was a cool idea. And like I say, there were quite a few iToy games, and that's the first one I own, I think. So there you go. We have V-Rally 3. Don't really know too much about this. I know of the V-Rally franchise, of course. I don't know if this was made by the same people that made the others. I have absolutely no idea. There's no manual, but there is like I think that's a poster. So everything's here apart from the manual. So it's a bit odd. Usually you have nothing rather than like it's got the map but not the manual, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't actually even looked at the disc, to tell you the truth. What's it like? Not too bad. I've seen worse. But yeah, that's V-Rally 3 anyway. I couldn't tell you anything about it, if it's any good or not or anything, because I don't really play racing games. An exception, which we'll get to in a minute. Lotus Challenge. This is a licensed Lotus game, apparently, the car manufacturer. Couldn't tell you anything more than that, really. It's by Kuju, who I think have done... They're a known developer. I've seen their name around before. No manual, but also, again, it does have this whatever this is, like a prize draw thing. I'm going to guess... Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that prize draw isn't valid anymore. But, yeah, the disc is there and everything. I haven't actually checked the back. It's a CD, so it's obviously very blue. It looks fine. Bit scratched, but not too bad. But yeah, that's Lotus Challenge. Again, I don't think this game's really worth anything in particular, but it's another one ticked off I didn't have, so I'm not complaining. 50 Cent Bulletproof. This is complete, and it's actually in decent condition. Just hope the sticker comes off. That's the only downside, really. If it comes off, then we're in shape. Also, how big is the is the age rating? It's huge. Like, all right, lads, we know it's an 18. We figured that out, to be honest. If someone told me, oh, 50 Cent's releasing a shooting game, I would have probably guessed, oh, that's going to be an 18. You know. Also, apparently, the story is written by one of the Sopranos guys. So there you go. That's a thing. Yeah, this game it's all right. I mean, if you're a 50 Cent fan, actually, you'd probably really like this because it does genuinely feel like it was a bit of a labour of love. And clearly, 50 Cent himself, Curtis Jackson there, he was obviously heavily involved with the project, you can tell. He voiced himself in the game and, you know, was clearly heavily involved. I think they even, there was some unreleased music even, that was included in this game that hadn't appeared on any albums or anything, so it's a pretty cool collection if you're a fan. It's other than that, it's a pretty pedestrian shooter, really. It's not bad or anything, but it's, you know, pretty standard stuff. The sequel to this, 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, which came out on the next-gen consoles, well, next-gen at the time, so PS3 and 360, that is far better, purely because it does not take itself seriously in any way. This game is kind of tries to be a bit serious with it, whereas Blood on the Sand is ridiculous. It's like 50 Cent is now like Indiana Jones hunting relics in the desert or something. It's fucking mental. And also, that game has a dedicated swear button as well. You just press it and 50 Cent calls a bloke a motherfucker or something. It's fucking great. Would recommend that because it's ridiculous. This, if you're a 50 Cent fan, yeah, sure, give it a go. You can probably pick it up for next to nothing. I don't think it's that valuable because I think it sold quite well, if I remember rightly. I mean, 50 Cent was like the biggest thing since Sliced Rapper at the time, you know, so, but yeah, not a bad little game. This game, though, Burnout 3, I fucking love this game. This and Burnout Revenge are my two favourite racing games ever. They're so good. Oh my god. I think Revenge is probably slightly better because it adds the actual revenge mechanic, if you like, and it also has checking, where if you're driving in the same direction as like a car on the road, you can bump into that car and use it to like knock into rival cars and knock them off the road. This game, if you just crash into another, like a civilian car, then you just crash, you know. So I personally preferred that system in Revenge, but I know some people prefer this one because they didn't like the fact you could crash and kind of it be rewarded in a weird sort of way, whereas this one, if you crash, you fucked it, but you can still take people down, you know. So it depends what your preferences are, really. But yeah, no, this game's great. And it, you know, it's worth about £4 to £5, I think. CX has it around that sort of region, so yeah, not a bad little inclusion. I mean, this was worth like half the price of the bundle alone, so. And we have 3 better ones, value-wise, still to come. Speaking of come, we'll get onto that later. That was a weird segue. It'll make sense, I promise. Kingdom Hearts! Yes, I have never played Kingdom Hearts, and I almost certainly never will. There's 2 reasons. One, the plot. Fucking incomprehensible. Like, I've read a synopsis of Kingdom Hearts 3. I've never been more confused in my life. And 2, even the names of the games outside of like the 3 main ones, they're all given names like 33 3/8% Calcutta Remix Deluxe Edition or something. Like, they've all got ridiculous names that no one would ever call their game. Apart from Square Enix, obviously, because they're weird. So yeah, I've never got into these games, but you know, it's good to pick them up, and I know they have a big fan base, obviously, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, and I like the idea of it. Let's do a Square style JRPG, but in the Disney universe. That's a cool idea, you know. Let's have, you know, I don't know, Goofy twatting someone with a sword. I have no idea if that happens. I'm guessing it doesn't, given Disney have quite tight regulations on how their licenses are used, but that would be funny, wouldn't it? But yeah, I couldn't really tell you much about this game, honestly. As I say, I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game and probably never will. There is a rip on the manual. It's not a big one, but it is there. But other than that, it's all complete and everything. It's in okay condition. There is also a slight mark in the back of the box, just above Mickey's head there. Assuming that is Mickey. Actually, it could be, is it Steamboat Willie or some shit? Like the early Disney character? Whatever. Point is, there's a slight rip there. But other than that, it's in decent shape. And this is worth £5 on CEX. So, again, this and Burnout 3 already paid for the bundle. Then we have the degenerate stuff. Kumas Unite, Playboy the Mansion. This game actually exists. Also, Ubisoft published this. Everything about this makes no sense. Right, so Playboy game, that's already a big what the fuck. Ubisoft published, again, a huge what the fuck. I can't imagine Ubisoft publishing anything nearly as like degenerate as this nowadays. But also, yeah, it's literally, you run the Playboy Mansion and like create your own version of it, essentially. And then you have to like make content and run the magazine and shit. And you even like hire playmates and like have them fuck, basically, to make content. It's so weird. I have no idea where this game came from, honestly. It's such a weird idea. When did this come out? 2005. Yeah, the world was different in 2005, let's just say that. This is one of the only times ever that you'll see the PEGI rating for sex on the back. Sexual content, I believe that is. This one of the only times you'll ever see that logo. Yeah, utterly bizarre. This game is worth like maybe £6 or something like that, because it's somewhat uncommon, I suppose. I actually think the bigger problem with this is like you'd have to make it public that you've bought it. I mean, even when I was buying the bundle, I was like, oh god, this is going to show up on my history. That's great. I've just noticed the PEGI rating is 16, but on the disc it has a BBFC rating of 18. Well, I don't know if it's BBFC, but it looks like it. But like, what happened there? What? So it was rated twice? This is definitely the UK version because it only has English on the back. So what? I have no idea. I'm very confused. Anyway, that's Playboy the Mansion. A testament to Hugh Hefner's staying power. Ha ha. And finally, something even more degenerate. Leisure Suit Larry. Magna cum laude. Do you see what they did there? It also says uncut. That implies there's a cut version, but I do not believe that's true unless like the US version's cut or something. Yeah, this is clearly an 18. Leisure Suit Larry, a complete relic of the past. I mean, they occasionally release these games in the modern day, and it's just embarrassing. It really is. It's like I don't know. It's just the weirdest kind of lad humour. Do you know what I mean? It's like, haha, tits are funny, and it's like this is really awkward. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know why this exists and why we needed it past sort of 1995. Really, it came out in 2004, by the way, just to put it into perspective. Yeah, I never played any of these games, funnily enough. So there we go. Again, Kumas Unite. So that was the bundle. It was the most degenerate thing I've ever bought, probably. Well, that's not true, but in terms of PlayStation 2 games, it's the most degenerate thing I've ever bought. Oh, and I've dropped them. Brilliant. Let me just... Can we not? Can we... We'll do it like this. So there's these three. The two Kuma games and the one... I've just realised this is Kingdom Hearts 2 and not the original. How did I not notice? Okay, in my defence, there isn't really a number 2 anywhere. I mean, I guess that's supposed to be the 2, but you could barely make that out unless you knew what you were looking for. So yeah, this is Kingdom Hearts 2, not the first one, apparently. Even the thing on the back makes it sound like it's Kingdom Hearts 1, because they don't mention it like a return or anything. Do you know what I mean? I'm very confused. Anyway, this is Kingdom Hearts 2, not the original, as any Kingdom Hearts fan would have been screaming at me for the last 5 minutes. Doesn't really make a difference to me because they're worth about the same amount of money and I don't have either of them, and I don't plan on playing either of them, so it makes no real difference, but, you know, there you are. And then here are the other ones that are in the bundle, as well as GTA Vice City disc only, which you can see in the background there. So, yeah, I think for £7, this is a ridiculous deal. I mean... That's like, it's about £1 a game, and almost all of these games are worth more than £1, you know. I think 50 Cent Bulletproof, I don't believe, is worth more than £1, and then the racing games might not be. Don't really know, though, for sure. This definitely isn't. You can get this for 50p, but that's made up for by the fact that, you know, Kingdom Hearts 2's a £5, Burnout 3's like £4, etc., etc. So, really, really good deal. Really happy with that. Yeah, that'll be the end of the video, I think. We have... quite a few things left to arrive. The next video is going to be quite a doozy because we've kind of gone in and I've picked up a few grails. My plan originally was to wait, but I've just happened to find some really good deals lately on some big hitter titles that every collector kind of wants, including a sealed grail that I actually did not spend that much money on. It was less than 3 figures, I'll say that. So I didn't have to, like, you know, I'm not going to be eating rice and noodles for the next 3 years trying to pay for this thing. Like, it was a reasonable price for what it is. And only slightly more than a new game would be nowadays. So the way I look at it, it's not even that bad, considering it's sealed, you know. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. Yeah, so we've got that. We've got a bundle of 3 games that I've done really well on. Again, good price. All 3 relatively uncommon. And then we've also bought a massive bundle of like 50 games or something for a ludicrously low price compared to what it's actually worth. And that takes into account the fact that there's duplicates in there. So, again, I've done really well on that one. So, yeah, we'll be back for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. And we will leave you with... I mean, what else can we leave you with, really? Other than... Leisure Suit Larry holding his beer, sandwiched in between 4 massive tits. That sums up the PlayStation 2 era better than any. Forget God of War, you know, and Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank and GTA San Andreas or any other game you can think of. No, this is PlayStation 2.mp4 right here. Magna cum laude. I still can't believe they actually called it that. Anyway, I'm going now. I'm going to go and play this game. I'm going to go and not play this game. Bye. I'm sorry, me again. I'm back. I was morbidly curious about this, right? So I looked in the manual thinking there's going to be some weird shit in here. Also, the manual was in kind of a shit condition, but it doesn't really matter. So I thought, okay, I'll look in the manual and see if there's any really, really weird shit in here. There's a lot of weird shit in here, but this might be the weirdest. This is a description of the various mini-games involved in the game, you know, such as, for example, water sports. Brilliant. Don't think it involves pissing on anyone, thank God. I've given them an idea for the next game. Leisure Suit Larry, I don't know, pissed up and on patrol. There you go, you can have that title for free. Where did that come from? Anyway, I'm too good at coming up with these titles. I'd be a very good... Anyway, moving on. Whack-a-pole. An occasional bit of personal stroking can do wonders for your confidence. I find it has the opposite effect. And your technique. Okay? And for extra... I mean, if you were serious about it, you wouldn't be... I'm not even going to finish that sentence, actually. And for extra cash, put those skills to profitable use at the sperm bank. Raise and lower the paddles with the left analog stick to keep the ball in play. I beg your pardon. I'm going to be honest. I'm a 28-year-old man. I've whacked the pole occasionally. I have never, at any point, used a paddle. Just going to point that out there. Now, people may have done, and I'm not judging. I'm just saying, I think if you asked 100 men, have you ever, while whacking the pole, let's just say, have you ever needed the use of a paddle? I'm fairly certain that probably 98 of them, at the very least, would have said, no, what the fuck are you talking about? Get away from me, or I'm going to call the police. It blew my mind, this paragraph, among other things. Ha ha ha. No. Personal stroking. This is a real thing written in an actual PlayStation 2. I don't fucking know. I'm going now. Bye.